For convenient modeling in the nanoCAD platform, there is a customized 3D Tools tab. As part of our video tutorials, we will learn all the basics of direct 3D modeling. Please note that all tools and commands related to direct 3D modeling will be active after you enable direct modeling mode. In order to quickly create exterior walls, we will need their 2D outline. Since the raster has all the basic dimensions, I suggest starting by building a grid of axes. Move the raster to the beginning of the line by selecting the lower left corner of the raster image grid axis as the base point of intersection of the axes. Set the axes layer as the current one. Activate the Line tool and specify the beginning of the auxiliary line as the base point and continue building the line upward with the ortho mode enabled. Use the keyboard to set the length of the 38,000 segment. Activate the Circle tool. Select the 2 points plot mode from the drop-down list. Zoom in on the images, bringing view closer to the beginning of the line. Specify the first point at the beginning of the line and the second point by entering the value 1000 from the keyboard. Click on the outline of the circle and go to the Properties function panel. Here we see all the basic properties of the selected element and can change them. Change the line type from the value by layer to the value continuous. As a result, our circle also belongs to the axis layer, but it has a different line type. Choose the Text tool. Select the Justify function on the command line and specify the middle value. Specify the center of the circle as the midpoint. The height is 500, and the rotation angle is 0. Use the keyboard to enter the value 1. Complete the text command by pressing the Ctrl-Enter combination or by left-clicking on the space. Change the type of lines and the properties of this text in the same way as you did for the circle. Thus, we got one axis. Now let's move its copy to the distances that are indicated in the raster. Select 3 elements: a line, a circle, and a text. There are several selection tools for selecting items. The most common way to select objects is to use the mouse cursor without using additional commands. The second tool is a frame selection, regular window selection, and crossing selection. Their main difference is not only in color, but also in how they're selecting the object. Only those areas that are completely in the area get into the window selection, and those objects that are partially in the area are not selected. The characteristic difference is the blue color. The crossing selection highlights the area in green and selects all objects that get within the crossing area. Accordingly, you can select only a part of the object rather than the entire object. Using the Move Copy command, which is located on the right in the editing toolbar, or using the Ctrl-Shift-D key combination, move the next copy to the right by entering the value 1500 from the keyboard. Make sure that the ortho mode is enabled. Without completing the command, create the next axis by entering the values 8,350, 15,100, 18,050, 25,850 and 27,350. Add the 3 elements of the first axis to the selected objects. Activate the Move command and move all the elements down to a distance of 3,000 by entering the value from the keyboard. Let's repeat all the same steps for the horizontal axes. Activate the Line tool and specify the base point and continue building the line to the right with the ortho mode enabled. Use the keyboard to set the length of the segment to 33,000. Copy the circle with the text 1 and place the element at the beginning of the axis. Select the 3 elements: line, circle, and text. Using the Move Copy command, move the next copy up by entering the value 2510 from the keyboard. Without completing the command, create the next axis by entering the values 4,500, 8,800, 15,000, 21,500, 33,050. Add the 3 elements of the first axis to the selected objects. Activate the Move command and move all the elements to the left by a distance of 3000. Give each axis the correct name by double-clicking on the text or changing the value in the Content field in the Properties panel. Now we can delete the first auxiliary line off red color, which is located on the auxiliary lines layer. That's it. The grid of axes is ready, and we can start building the outline of the exterior walls. Set the auxiliary lines layer as the current layer. Activate the Line or Polyline tool. Start building from the intersection of the A5 axes. Ortho mode must be enabled. Specify the intersection of the A6 axes at the next point. You can also enter all the values from the keyboard, for example, by entering 7300 for the next point by moving the mouse up. And the value is 1500 by moving the mouse to the right. Thus, you use the cursor to point to the side where the segment of a certain length will be placed. Next, specify each subsequent point using bindings or by entering the length of the segment using the keyboard. As a result, you should get an outline. Next, hide the raster layer and select all the constructed segments. If you use the Line tool instead of the polyline when building the outline, then you need to use the Join command. This way, the contour will become a single one. If the polyline command was used during the construction, then the contour will immediately be one. To build a second inner contour of the walls, use the Offset command. To do this, select the Offset tool. Use the keyboard to specify the offset distance of 500. Press Enter and left-click on the inside of the contour. Press Escape. Unhide the raster layer and make sure that the constructed outlines repeat the display of the exterior walls of the drawing. Using the locator or the orbit tool, rotate the drawing until the Z-axis appears. Now we can extrude the outline. Go to the 3D Tools tab, Direct Modeling, and activate the Presspull command. Hover the cursor over the created contour and the program will highlight it in blue. But before that, let's hide the axis layer. Confirm the selection by clicking the left mouse button, then specify the extrusion height of 3000, and confirm the action by pressing Enter. Complete the Presspull command by pressing the Escape button. All created 3D objects are called 3D solids, and if you use the Presspull or Extrude command when constructing a 3D solid, the 3D object will be located on a specific layer. So after executing these commands, the elements need to redefine the layer. Change the layer value to the exterior walls layer. Our exterior walls are ready. You can switch the visual style to see different displays of the created elements in 3D.